we're jumping right in. We're going to recap episode 9 and 10 today. So when we begin, we have Johnny, and he's still kind of in limbo in the beginning of episode 9 about Andrina. He's telling everybody but their mama about what he don't like about this girl. And essentially, he is trying in episode 9 to try to get her on a strategic page to talk about gaming. And she doesn't want to talk about it. She said, my game plan is you be the man, you be girl, and I'll be boy, yeah. And that's it. Like, I'm going to be the girl, you be the boy, you lead us, and I'll just follow. But this is not Love Island, babe. This is Love Island game. And Johnny wants a strategic partner. And Andrina, unfortunately, babe, she's not giving that. And she isn't taking the game that serious. But he does try to have a heart-to-heart with her at the top of the episode. While Josh is speaking to Justine, one thing I didn't notice in the beginning of the episode when they're talking strategy is he wants her to be with anybody except Tyreek. Like, Toby had to get his head in the game. So for him to put Josh and Justine together in the first place lets you know he was all about the love and not about the game. So hopefully from here on out he gets his head in the game. But in this moment, Josh and Justine discuss that they're happy where they're at, and she gives him some pros and cons of keeping Andrea and what that would mean for his game, and how Andrea, because she is pretty popular with, you know, the bombshells that come in here, he's always going to have a threat over his head in order to keep her in the game. And so she mentioned that, and so Josh asks, who do you like? And here he's trying to push her onto Marvin. She's like, I don't like no Marvin, but I am interested in Tyreek. So he turns immediately red because, you know, Ty cannot stand Josh cannot stand Tyreek. He cannot stand that guy. In the meantime, in between time, Ty is putting the moves on Justine. He's saying all the right things. He's trying to give her kisses that he should have given her before. And he's just putting it on for her. And she's kind of falling for it. I think she would. You got to remember, Justine is 31 or 32. And Tyreek is only 26 or 27. Like, they're basically, you know, two different age brackets, and she's a lot more mature than Tyreek is, you know, so it's going to be hard for him to put the same game that he could put on a younger girl onto Justine. So she's trying to bring her walls down, but it's just not working the way he wants it to work, or as quick as he wants it to work. The next morning, you can see that Ty continues to try because he does make Justine a whole breakfast spread. And as you know, his whole thing is, I ain't making these women no breakfast. So the fact that he made her, like, breakfast, whole, like, bacon, egg, and cheese, everything on the side, it lets you know he's really grafting, as they say in the UK, and trying to put in the effort for Justine, which was really cute to see. The whole time, Kendall thinks he's under the radar. He thinks he's Game of Thrones up here, Laura Varys, and he thinks that he's going under the radar, which he is not, because in the very next scene, Johnny says, yo, we got to get Kendall out of here, because he's talking to everybody, he's making too much friends, and he got to go. And I just thought that was so funny, because I was just thinking, Kendall think he is getting by, easy, skating. And no, the whole time he has a target on his head by Johnny, of all people. So now Johnny never recruited the boys. So my guess is the next time he's vulnerable, Kendall will be the one going home if there is a vote between the boys. So while everybody is having downtime, trying to speak strategy, even Toby says to Isaiah, yo, we not gym bros. And Isaiah looks at him like, whatever, who you not gym bro? And kind of gave him credit for, like, not picking him in the last challenge. Zay kind of was like, I did not do that for you. But anyway, so as they're talking strategy, boom, we get a text. And the text says that we have to do a recoupling right now. In the daytime, y'all. Right after breakfast. They ain't even barely breathe. And the shocker that was heard around the world is when the recoupling happens, Ty picks Justine, but Justine does not pick Ty. She picks Josh. And that was the ego heard around the world. I got a big ego, such a huge ego. And Ty is going to make her pay for this. He comes up with the revenge plans, and he executes it to a T, might I add. But as we will talk about in episode 10, might have been too soon. So we'll get there. And my personal opinion is, I feel like Justine does play the game better when she's in love, because both times that she's won, and I didn't watch the challenge, but on Love Island, she has had a trust in her partner that has helped carried her through. So her strategy, her trust in her partner has really helped her put her best foot forward. And this time, she's on shaky ground with the couples, like straight off the door, because she didn't come in as an OG. She came in as a bombshell. But petty producers, they decided to say to hell with it. Let's keep Ty and Justine in the game. They didn't do any vulnerabilities at that time, which they usually do after recoupling, because of these two heavy hitters that were in the bottom, because they might have not realized that Justine was going to do that either. And they were just trying to put Ty with Justine to keep him safe and her safe, and, you know, happily ever after. But that did not go that way. And so because of that, they end up just coupling them together. And they're in now a miserable married couple. And it was at that moment he knew he messed up. So at that point, Ty really starts talking with Toby, and Toby is listening to Ty's plan about his revenge on Justine and how he's going to get her back and how he's going to make her pay. And he's just like in this emotional rant. And Toby knows it's a bad idea. He actually says to them, I knew you guys weren't going to get along for long. And if you don't know, Justine is a Pisces and Ty is an Aries. And, you know, I'm an Aries myself. I ain't never really get along with no Pisces. So, you know, I did for a short time. But me and Pisces, we start off good, but we be like boom, 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 and boom, fireworks at the end. So I get it. After that debacle goes on, Ty tries to talk some sense into Johnny and tries to convince him to tell Andrina how he's feeling about her. Like, Ty literally is the voice of reason when it comes to him and Johnny's relationship. Crazy talk. So at the end of episode 9, we wrap up with they have that nasty bird and mouth challenge, gross, my least favorite challenge, and they do the potty mouth thing. So the couples, this is where they stand at the end of episode 9. Where we pick up for episode 10. At the rebound of that, we find out that Garby ends up dumping her slime into Lucinda's basket, and it really upset Lucinda and sends Kendall on this roaring rage against his own partner Garby. Bad move, Kendall. And it brought the old Kendall out, the Kendall that we do not like, the same Kendall that was attacking Serena, if you ask me. And while Ty is still working on Justine, he says she's a machine, she has no feelings, and he really does not think that he's going to be able to do, you know, the switcheroo on Justine, because his plan is to pretend like he likes her, and the minute another bombshell comes in, he's going to dump her for that bombshell. So for the entirety of the episode, he's basically putting moves on Justine, and then his wish comes true. There are 2 surprise guest boxes, and guess what are inside those guest boxes? Bombshells. So 2 things are happening at the same time. Johnny is complaining about Andrina all night, saying she's beautiful, but she's just not his girl. And Ty is heavily putting the moves on Justine, trying to break down those walls all night long. So much so that when the bombshells comes in, he's in there making moves and kissing on Justine. And the boys have to call him and tell him that there are bombshells waiting out there. And as we expected, when it's his time to choose if he wants to stay with Justine or recouple with the bombshell, Ty decides to pick the bombshell, sending shudders and shocks throughout the villa. And in the meantime, the dismay that Johnny has for Andrina comes to a head, and he ends up choosing the bombshell as well. They open the box, and the bombshell is none other than Garby and Casey from Love Island All-Stars, who were the winners. They're exes, but they were the winners of that season. And the bombshell end up picking Nicola for Casey. And did I say Garby? And the bombshells end up picking Nicola for Casey. And Gabby ends up going with Johnny, to Tyreek's dismay. But in a twist, Sydney saves Tyreek's behind and keeps Justine vulnerable, because Toby, who is the power couple who won that challenge for the bird challenge, ends up saving Lucinda, which is a shock for the whole thing, because we thought they were going to save Justine. And that's where we end episode 10. And this is where the couples are at the end of episode 10. If you enjoyed today, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your girl, Nico Nicole, and this is Give This Girl a Mic. We will recap episode 11 later or tomorrow. You know, I love some Tyreek, but America mad at him. His ass may be grass.